Welcome to the Tour of Turkey. Probably the best backdrop to a cycling race that you could possibly imagine. Today we're going from Selçuk to Izmir, and we've been here, Izmir, before. And if you want to see one of the greatest finishes to a cycling race that you're ever likely to come across, check out 2012 Stage 7 and Ilio Kaiser. Remarkable. Diego Ulissi is our leader, 12 seconds over Jesper Hansen. Fausto Masnada, 24 seconds. Martinez, who was expected to challenge Ulissi yesterday on the big climbing day, 29 seconds adrift. Yonder Godoy, Aslanov and the rest, those who were leading the race, were cast asunder by the inclines that they dealt with, which were quite severe, particularly towards the end. It was a dramatic finish, which was more than enjoyable, up to Marmaris. This is what we're dealing with today. Leaving Selçuk, and indeed it's our Paquet Apollo's guide that's going to take us through this one, and you'll see that there are some lumps and bumps along the way. The first one that we've dealt with has already been taken. It's been a lively start, very feisty. It took a long time for the breakaway to establish itself because, quite frankly, this is one of the few days where it might just happen. There it is. That's about where we are now. 75 k's remaining, and then it kicks up to this climb. Peaks out at 28 kilometers to go. On the descent there's another little peaklet, as you can see. Not a pikelet, that's a small pike. And there is your finish. So it's a little downhill run to the finish. We're going waterside again into Izmir. It's not exactly the same finish that Ilio Kaiser lit up. We have a switchback, so it slows things down with an arrow straight, then reignition. So one for the sprinters, why not? That's Ulissi, who wears the leader's jersey after his exploits yesterday. But some very good finishes, and it wasn't the fast men's day yesterday, but I think it possibly could be today. Don't count Ulissi himself out though, because he's got a good turn of speed about him. He's been up near the pointy end on some of the fast days, and after yesterday's climb he is the leader. He'll want to protect that jersey, and if he finds himself in a decent position he will go for it. So this nation is absolutely peppered with absolutely glorious backdrops, and indeed fantastic performances that we've had so far. It's been a terrific race. At the sign-on today, time to enjoy yourself. Daniel Celano it is, wearing the red King of the Mountains jersey. On countback after a good effort yesterday, he finds himself where he wants to be. Number 4 is wearing the white jersey, that's Onur Balkan. And I can tell you that the leader of the Young Riders competition, which does not in this race have a jersey, is Daniel Martinez, incidentally. Will you lead the teams? In the green there is Mr. Points. Mr. Points in this race now, no longer our glorious leader, but nonetheless has got a great chance today, is Shane, not Shane Archibald, he's in the break, Sam Bennett, who took 3 stages in a row at the top of this race, did a magnificent job of it. I think he may well be able to sustain and survive the climb today. Likewise Edward Toon, so they start as our favourites. It took a long time for this breakaway to establish itself. You can see the road surface just slightly rippled. It's being reflected through the handlebars here, and indeed on the rider's wrists. Brian Smith, we've had our breakaway finally establish itself through various incarnations, and some handy riders up here now.
Exactly. It was a fast start as expected after a big GC day yesterday. A lot of riders just climbing that final hill, saving their legs a little bit to try and get in the breakaway today. This could be pretty much the last opportunity for most of these riders, because tomorrow's finish in Istanbul, I think it will be a kind of sprint. It does have a bit of a climb, and then it goes round the square to the finish. So it is a difficult finish tomorrow, but I don't think it will be a breakaway that will finish it off. But today there was always a possibility that if the right break went, it could go to the finish. But unfortunately for many of these riders, Trek Segafredo still not got their win yet. And I think today is the day that they'll ride all in for Edward Toynes. He's been finishing second and third to Sam Bennett in the first 3 stages. Yesterday, he only lost a minute and a half in the climb. I know Sam Bennett sat up and finished second from last yesterday and lost about 15 minutes. right thing to do, just saving the energy for today's stage. But Towns looks as if he's riding strong, and if Trek Segafredo, because I don't really think that UAE will want to really shake up the peloton in this final climb, but if Trek Segafredo, we looked at it in the Marmara stage if they were up, but I don't think they had good legs that day. It was a shorter stage, but I don't think they had the good legs today. But today is a day that they could shake it up. If you remember a couple of years ago in this stage, Carlton, when Mark Cavendish was dropped and he got back on in the run-in, so there's enough time from the top of that final climb to the finishing line for it to regroup. And I'm not too sure if that group of maybe 30 or 40 riders who will be in that group to kind of push it all the way to the line. It's a long way, 28 kilometres to go to the finishing line, and that will give an opportunity for Bora to come back. But the only problem that Bora have got today is, and that's why I think Shane Archibald is in the break, they've lost Mühlberger because of a sickness. He never started this morning, so they've lost one rider. They've already ridden yesterday and the first 3 days for the sprint, so I think they'll be getting a little bit tired, and losing Mühlberger might make them slightly weaker today. And obviously Shane Archibald in the breakaway, it allows them to just sit back in the peloton and allow UAE and Trek Segafredo to dictate the speed of the peloton.
Shane Archibald then is in the break, the 28-year-old Kiwi. He's been almost an ever-present form, guiding Sam Bennett to where he needs to be. Won't be on hand today, or if it may well be a little bit diminished by the time we get to the end. But then again, he is strong and he bounces back nicely. In fact, even on the stage 3, where Sam Bennett offered up his own apologies to Archibald after dive bombing him in a corner, accidentally, you understand, knocked him out of the sprint train. Well, Archibald is a great foil to have up the road, and especially as this will force Trek Segafredo to work hard, and that's what they're doing right now. Both they and UAE are indeed engaging the chase, and so that's a gift to the likes of Sam Bennett, who will presumably want to impose himself a little bit later on. UAE are working just a little bit less than Trek. They're part of the drive at the moment, and as a result they are finding themselves doing a little bit more work, but honouring the jersey. And of course it's all within the realms of the remit of Diego Ulizi, who leads this race. Looking at Balkan, we had 2 of the Turkish national team in the break earlier on, by the way. Onur Balkan, brother of Serkan, we're looking at the moment. Mohamed Atalay as well was also up there, 28-year-old. I think he was a minder for the youngster, the younger of the Balkans, who was up the front earlier on. So I think they're struggling at the moment, to our local broadcasters, to find Turkish national team representatives here, because frankly they had 2 in the break and they have gone. So who's up here? Shane Archibald, who we've already mentioned, doing his own thing. Well, he did it at the Coppa Bernocchi as well, where he finished in 7th place, but he's always been sacrificial lamb for Sam Bennett, and he's doing a job for him, albeit at distance today, because he's making Bennett's rivals for the sprint work hard. We've got Jonas Koch, and now he is himself not a bad sprinter, so it might well, if this breakaway does manage to get away, but I can't see it with only 1 minute and 44. It's been held well within range for the time being. He's a quick man who can climb. 11th in Norway, went well in the fields as well. We've got Alex Turin, the 25-year-old Italian from Wilier Triestina, who have Belletti, who seems to be going very, very well. And it's Belletti's birthday, so Wilier Triestina might actually have a dig today. He was 4th on stage 3, and yeah, looks to be in good form. I also like the look of Gavazzi, actually. He got a great finish yesterday on the climb, and indeed on the stage 3 sprint. So Gavazzi is all things to all men at the moment, and Androni Zajdamek have put Matteo Zbrafico up the road for the time being for Androni Zajdamek. But Gavazzi, after climbing yesterday, proving he's a real good utility player. In fact, yesterday he was 7th, and on the day before into Marmaris, the sprint, he was 6th. So he's always a feature, it seems, and the longer this race goes on, especially at the end of the season, you think, oh, it's only 6 days, 6 stages. well, that can still have an impact. We'll see what the fatigue levels are late on, but Gavazzi seems to be thriving. The last man from the break was Lucas Sprengler, and he is he finished 5th on the Schalsechs, which is like a Kermis, a big Kermis, and the Swiss is up there for Veran Classic, and so that's your break for the time being. It's reasonably feisty. These are the villas of the great and the good in settlements that have been here since Roman and Greek times. Not that the Greeks and the Turks see eye to eye all the time historically, but yes, there's an awful lot of culture here. If architecture is also part of that, then you've got an awful lot of it in these parts. So what are these guys building? For the time being, it's 1:50. It's holding steady. 69.1 k's to go. We've been through the feed zone. Next up is our Turkish Beauties sprint. That'll be in 29 kilometers time. So we've got some rolling terrain to deal with before we get to the main action point of the day, which is the climb, where these guys may well be wound in. They'll certainly might start testing each other because there's such a long descent from 28 kilometers out. If they can get over the peak in the front, they've got a chance, because what remains of those 28 kilometers, there's probably only, what, 12 of them, which are reasonably flat to deal with late on. So they'll put some power back in the legs if they've got their descending heads on. It's blowing today, northerly, incidentally, and so they've had a bit of a headwind, which has knocked back any chances of a breakaway. It's blowing at about 20 k's an hour from the north. We'll keep an eye, and we'll be back in a moment here. Welcome back. Bit of a transition feel about the position on the road that we find ourselves at this moment. But drama, it seems, is always thrown up by this stage wherever it happens to feature in a race. Back in 2012 when Ilio Kaiser won. If you haven't seen it, go and have a look. We were paired together there, Brian, and it still makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up when we watch it.
Yeah, just to confirm, we weren't actually riding the race, we were doing the commentary at the time, just in case you're confused there. But yeah,
I was riding.
It was, it was something to behold, and it was just a dramatic finish when Kaiser came off in the final corner and got up, remounted, his chain dropped, he got his chain back on and held off the peloton that we were screaming down behind him.
Yeah, quite remarkable. I've actually tweeted it, by the way. So just to be clear, with just about the Flamme Rouge, Kaiser falls on some oil. You can see a stripe of it on the deck. So he's off the bike. He's 14 seconds advantage only. Gets back up, remounts, realizes the chain's off, gets back off the bike, restrings the chain, and then it's an out-and-out battle to see if he can make it to the line before the pack catch him. Ilio Kaiser, I think it was, that was runner-up that day, and had Pataki involved and all kinds of very, very quick men. Kaiser held them off for an event that actually won him the most dramatic sporting accolade. I think it was most dramatic sporting event at the Sports Awards in Belgium. And yeah, they played the commentary of both myself and Brian. I went suitably mental, of course. And then at the end, they said, "What fantastic commentary from Phil Liggett." I do love Phil Liggett, but that one was mine, Phil. Anyway, go and check it out on Twitter. I've actually put it up, or if you just go to YouTube, then you put in Tour of Turkey 2012 Stage 7, and it will blow your mind. So, what can we expect today? It's always a dramatic finish. In 2015, Mark Cavendish came to victory after, as Brian was saying, getting over the last peak. We've got that to face today. 2014 was Elie Viviani, who beat Gardini, and Cav was third that day. Marcel Kittel stepped up to the mark after losing out to Ilio Kaiser in that famous 2012 finish. And in 2013, he beat Gardini and Richesi. So, it's got a history of fast men that have taken it. And today we're expecting Sam Bennett versus Edvard Teuns once more, aren't we?
I'm still unsure on this one, because this is quite a difficult climb, and when we look at the situation, Kaiser Carual, I've got the lead in the King of the Mountains jersey with Solano. They're locked on points with Miko Maestri. You look at tomorrow's stage, and I know they will have, it's a 4th category climb. So it's going to be more of a sprint than anything else. And Miko Maestri showed yesterday in that 3rd category climb before the final climb that he's up for that challenge. He's going to beat Solano. So if Solano wants to win and Carual want to win this King of the Mountains title, then they're going to have to bring these riders back in front and go for this final climb. They have to make it a little bit more difficult. The first climb of the day was taken by Archibald from Koch, and Turin was in 3rd place. That was earlier on today. It was a 3rd category climb, but there's a 2nd category climb coming up, and I think that Carual need to bring this break back to allow Solano to take points, because I think Maestri's got this one. If those 5 riders stay away, then there's a situation that it's not going to happen. While I'm talking about this, there's a situation in the race between CCC and the Turkish rider here, and just watch what he does with one of the bottles here.
That's a bit naughty, and I've got to tell you that Ahmed Orkin is not in a good place today. In fact, there's been a little bit of shenanigans from the Turkish national team, and to my mind they're up for 2 sanctions. They'll get one for that. We've just re-showed it. The commissaires will have also seen it, and they'll get one for abuse of spectators as well.
That wasn't them.
Really?
Yes, that was another team.
Was it Trek?
Yes.
Trek Segafredo. Then I apologise to the Turkish national team. You're still on the naughty step for one account, and we've just seen it. Yeah, we just saw abuse of spectators before we came on air, so I'm rather pleased you didn't see it, because it was quite forthright. Let's put it that way. Lots of hand signals. Let's put it that way, and they weren't exactly thumbs up.
Well,
anyway, so off that. Let's just go back to the point that we were making before, or I was trying to. 28 kilometres to go. Yeah, if they all do come back together, then I think that there's still plenty of time for our sprint to re-establish itself. I think there's more than enough time for Edvard Tones and Sam Bennett to have a battle.
Yes, they could have a battle. I think that they'll race up this final climb, and whether Sam Bennett comes back is a question mark. It's 50-50, because that's the reason why they put Archibald in the breakaway.
Well, he did lose 14 minutes yesterday, didn't he? He was well and truly, yeah, exactly. So did he actually keep something back, or was he really punished?
Yeah, no, I just think he was there right from the start. He tried, it was too hard, pulled the pin, and just rode up the final climb, just saving his energy. But the fact that Archibald is in the breakaway today, they've lost Milberger. They'll race up this final climb. Just said that the team of Carual need to try and bring this breakaway back and race for these points for the King of the Mountain. And if that happens, then who's going to bring Sam Bennett back to the front? If Towings is in front, in the front group, then they'll go all in for the win. So that's the challenge for Sam Bennett. Will he be able to stay with them? Well, he did hang on up the climb into to Marmaris, but this climb is a little bit more difficult, and I think it'll be a little bit harder for Sam to hang on.
Well, you're right, he did do a great job into Marmaris. In fact, he was, by his own admission though, he did say that he was only just hanging on, and if today is more difficult, and it certainly is, he's still giving out. It's a big old chat going on here, and he's actually come very close to getting physical. Come on then, says Nazim Bekirki. All right, just leave me alone. I've got a few more things to say, he says. Well, let's just hope he starts to bag it. You can't have that kind of shenanigans going on. It's all very well issuing, having an animated conversation, but not throwing things. A minute and 10 is your gap. We've got 61.5 kilometres of today remaining. Wide open spaces, Brian. It's a cruise, but it's a fast pace today.
Yeah, predominantly today it's been a bit of a kind of headwind. It's not the fastest stage. I don't think we've seen many fast stages in this year's Tour of Turkey because of the wind. But we do start to head left, start heading towards Izmir. When that happens, it'll be a bit more of a tailwind. So there's going to be a bit more of a tailwind off the final climb, and it's between kind of 15 and 20 kilometres an hour, so it'll be a fast run-in. The actual finish, when we do that dog leg with about 1,500 metres to go, it's going to be a bit more of a headwind back to the finishing line, but that's only for the last kind of kilometre and a half.
So for now, the wind is blowing, well, the breeze is up. We reckon about 20 kilometres per hour. They've made a turn, they've started to head back towards the western direction. They're going in northwesterly at the moment, so it's a cross headwind that they've got to deal with. Always a great indicator of the flags by the side of the road, but the gift for us is Shane Archbold's mullet. Obviously it blows when he's just riding with no wind because he's creating it himself. But here is the Checky Kolesi, the goat castle, Brian. Have you had some of the fermented goat's cheese here?
I haven't had it yet. No, it's
a treat you're just waiting for, mate, I tell you. The smaller they are, the more powerful they are, by the way, because it's an evaporation process, so do be careful if you go for a thimble one. It's going to make your eyes scream. Nonetheless, it is spectacular. We're always knocked down by the beauty of the place. We didn't see enough yesterday of Ephesus.
Yeah, and I think there was our friend Faisy, who does a column in the paper, had a little bit of a go at them in the paper today, and funnily enough, I think they read it, because before we came on air, they showed
half an hour of it.
Yeah.
It's all too late, because right now we've got just tarmac, and it doesn't look as beautiful as the surroundings most certainly are. They haven't done the best to highlight the best of the areas that we've been by. And Ephesus, well, they basically just missed it yesterday. I'm not quite sure what was going on. Obviously there was the race going on, but they could have shown it in advance of our climb, and then when they've got to the climb, we sailed by it. We caught a very brief glimpse of it on the right hand side of the road from the helicopter. But honestly, it is such an amazing place. It deserves a documentary all on its own. So have a look at it, Ephesus, and just dream. These guys, minute and 5. It's closing, Brian.
It is. That the situation now is Trek Segafredo putting a little bit more effort into the front. So you can also see one Turkish rider interested as well, because their man, Ahmet Torkin, it's an opportunity for him today. He was in that front group into Marmaris as well. So he climbs well enough, he sprints well enough, and you know, this is an opportunity for a lot of these teams, because if you take Sam Bennett to the line, forget it, you're riding for second place. So that's why I think they're going to race up this final climb, and it's going to be very difficult for Sam to be there. He's ridden well in this race, he's got some good legs, so for me it's still 50-50 whether he stays with the front riders or he comes back late. But remember, a couple of years ago when Mark Cavendish got dropped in this climb and his team brought him back and he won the stage, so that can happen. But with Gregory Milberger not starting today, that's a strong man missing, and they've put Shane Archbold in the breakaway.
Yeah, it's a shame about Milberger. I'm not quite sure what the sickness is, but didn't start today. He was effectively plan B in the sprints. They still got Palucki, and they've got Michael Schwartzman, who can go extremely quickly. Shane Archbold, who can sustain this climb. I think he's up there potentially as a foil anyway for Bennett, but I don't know, he'd have to have somebody to drag him up to Archbold if he was then going to take advantage. We'll see. We'll take a break. Well, you can get bad luck at any point, and best to get it out of the way with right now. Thomas de Ruyter. We've seen him busy over the last couple of days. Meanwhile, cars may well get called out here, Brian, because it looks like their card's been marked.
I think they're just pegging them back. They'll keep them out there, because if Trek Segafredo or New E bring them back, the situation then we're back to square one. And like earlier on today, I think everybody wants a breakaway. It kind of settles down the race. If they're brought back, then other attacks will go. For one, it's helping Caja Rural are just sitting there thinking, when do they have to come to the front to bring this breakaway back? We've seen it yesterday with some teams. When they get brought back from the breakaway, they came to the front and started riding.
Well, we're going to probably repeat ourselves in just a few moments while we join our Eurosport family. Just under a minute, and they've left the cars in just for the time being in case they extend themselves, and it's possible because this is a very strong breakaway, not least the likes of Alex Turin. We've got Manny Belletti back behind for Wilier Triestina. They did so much work yesterday, Brian. It was a classic case of just investing too much too early, I think. And I know that Martinez had himself a decent finish, but he didn't really have the support towards the end that he might well have done in the mountains. So they've got some decent climbers as well. They fried themselves.
Yeah, they tried hard and they came in front, but I thought they did well, if I'm completely honest, because they had two. They had Godoy and Martinez. They're still young riders. I just heard that Martinez is going to EF Cannondale for next year, so he's got his World Tour place. But I think they came up to the front. They kind of disappeared on that last climb and kind of fried themselves a little bit. But I think that their plan yesterday with their two riders, Godoy and Martinez, I thought they rode very well, finishing up there. I know that they're just missing that potential win, and Martinez and Godoy finishing in or starting the day in 4th and 5th position. But I think for two young riders, I think they need to be happy with that. But obviously Ulissi was kind of head and shoulders in the end above everybody else, and Jasper Hansen done a very good job. Masnada was also there, but I really think that Martinez and Godoy did particularly well yesterday.
I think they did, but I think the team may well have been able to offer them just a little bit more. They certainly burnt out a lot of rivals yesterday, and I guess that was part of their plan. Ulissi looked so dominant though, Brian, it's almost unkind. I know he started this race as the out-and-out favourite. We were expecting stage 4 to be the point upon which he displayed his credentials, and yesterday there was no doubt about it, was there? He comes into this race now looking like an owner.
Indeed, there was a doubt with about a kilometre to go when Jasper Hansen went, because if he could have kept that tempo up to the line, then he could have hurt Ulissi. But the thing is, with that explosive effort, and then the setting up and you know the tactical side of things, you know, purely because that was a hard effort for Jasper Hansen yesterday as well. So obviously his legs were sore. If he'd have managed to keep that up, then who knows? But he wasn't able to keep that sort of effort up. Ulissi pegged back to him, and then inside the last few hundred metres, when they started kind of freewheeling a little bit, nobody wanted to take it up, playing into the hands of Ulissi, who took the win quite convincingly, and looks like, barring any incident, will go on to win the Tour of Turkey. But as I said, you never know. 12 seconds. We've seen people having mechanic or puncture and things like that, and it goes out the window for them. You still have to protect Ulissi, and I think he's got a strong enough team to be able to do that.
I think so. I think he'll probably do it himself, to be honest, today. Such is his strength. He's also got some pace about him, and so if it is a fatiguing pace, and I feel like it has been today, we've had a couple of days where it's they've set a tempo. The worst of all was the run to Fethiye. I think the average speed that day was under 30 kilometres an hour until we actually got to the end and things paced up a bit. Today there's been none of that. It took a long time for the breakaway to establish itself. It's finally there, and it's got some proper members within it. 54 seconds though is our gap, and it seems to be that they're wary of bringing them back too soon. We've got a Turkish Beauties sprint. I don't think they'll be overly concerned about that. You might see the Turco boys coming up to the front if it's within range. Don't think it will be, but they're setting the pace at the moment. But as you look, there's been a response from the breakaway, and in fact the gap's gone up. So if they are going to chase it down, Turco have got their problems. So I think the Beauty sprint is going to go away from. They had two in the break to try and deliver it, but got a little bit lost through the after the first climb and the second sprint. The first sprint, I should say, the Turkish Beauty sprint. We'll find out what it is that's so beautiful about 40 kilometres from home by the end. We'll go through that and then take on our climb. So it's at the foot of our test. What sort of inclines are they going to be dealing with, Brian, to get up the to an altitude of, what, 600 metres above sea level?
It's not over the period of the climb. The climb is about just over 10 kilometres, almost 11 kilometres in length. And it averages just under about 5%, but there's some kind of nasty kick-ups, and it really, and in any climb, it depends on the speed the riders do. We've seen that into Marmaris.
Well, we get over the top of our peak with 28 kilometres remaining. The reason why their pace is up at the moment is being set by the team from Turkey. They're concerned about the Turkish Beauty Sprint, which is clearly the only jersey that they are going to be able to deliver, and it's Onur Balkan who holds that jersey at the moment. Not sure whether they're going to manage to close this gap in time, because we've got less than 12 kilometres to go before we get to that Turkish Beauty Sprint, and the break, Brian, is going to want to carry as much impetus as it can into the climb if they've got a chance of delivering today.
Yeah, I don't think the Turkish team have to worry too much about this beauty sprint. Looking at the classification at the moment, we had Onur Balkan in the breakaway today, but he sits at the top with 10 points in that competition. Okay, there's Alex Turin of the Wheeler Tristina team in the 5-man group in front, but he can only take the 3 points on offer. So it's the 5 points on offer, and I think that's what they're slightly worried about, which will take him up to 8 points. So there's 5, 3 and 2, 1 coming up. Alex Turin has got 3 points, so I'll take him to 8 points in that competition with a day to go, one beauty sprint to go. So it's a little bit maybe close for comfort, and it does look as if the boys from Turkey want to maybe try and bring this back, but Balkan will still be in that leader's jersey tomorrow, and it's a big effort, especially when they've got an opportunity today with Ahmed Orkin. Ahmed Orkin could deliver in the end. He could get himself in that front group. If it's only about 20 riders, then they've got an opportunity here. But by putting a rider at the front of the race to help out the two Trek Segafredo and UAE riders, there's 4 riders riding at the moment, keeping it roughly about a minute, just over a minute. The thought on that competition, yeah, they would love to deliver the beauty sprint competition. That would be obviously their goal coming into this race, and that's why they're putting riders in the break. But unfortunately for Onur Balkan, he was in the original breakaway of 7. It all kind of came back, and they were shaken out on the first climb of the day, and 5 riders in front, with Turin with 3 points in that competition that they're going for.
It's busy. The young riders don't get any jersey here, but there is a young riders competition, by the way, just to remind you, and it's Martinez that leads that. So he's got no jersey, but he is the best of the youngsters, and he certainly was yesterday, finishing behind Hansen and Ulissi in 3rd place for Wheeler Triestina. I think they'll be busy today. As Brian was saying, Ahmed Orkin, to mention him in the same breath as Edward Toons and Sam Bennett, well, today anything is possible because of the climb. You never know how they're going to sustain it, and in fact what this headwind has done to them throughout the day. We've turned west. It does become a tailwind late on, Brian, which is going to add impetus to the sprint. However, it's then a crosswind once they make the switch back at the hairpin to bring themselves to the line. Yes,
indeed. It is hampering it's hampered the whole race since it started in Alanya. It's been predominantly a headwind or head crosswind pretty much every stage, which has slowed it right down. The stage into Marmaris, they were averaging 33 kilometres an hour. Yesterday was 38 kilometres an hour, and obviously with this wind, this prevailing wind and these big wide roads, it was always going to be difficult for a breakaway to stay away. It had to be the right size, and it was the wrong size a bit earlier on. It was 7 riders, maybe a little bit too big. There was a bit of kind of reshuffling, but 4 of these riders were in the group of 7 riders that initially went away, and then the surprise came that Archibald went across to them just before the first climb of the day. So and that gave me an indication where that Bora Hansgrohe were happy with the way the race has gone. They've won 3 stages. They lost Mühlberger at the start. The climb is coming up, and they wanted to try and put someone in the breakaway today.
Turkish Booty Sprint. What's the name of our town today that where it comes through? I'll just have a quick look for you. It's oh, it just says it's the Vestel City entrance. We'll have a look at the Vestel City. Hopefully it's got more to say, you know?
Yeah, it's actually the HQ of Vestel. They actually go into the Vestel City,
right.
and it's a bit like a
education complex, isn't it, as well as everything else?
Yeah, it's a bit like you know, an industrial estate.
I remember walking around it forlornly trying to find where we needed to be. I think we were looking for a driver. Gosh, it was warm that day. Temperatures today still nice, about 27 Celsius. We've been nudging 32 and 34 during this race. We've held on to summer, Brian.
Yeah, very good weather for the race riders, and you know, they would have suffered a little bit yesterday in the heat and the distance as well. It was a hard climb at the end, but most of the riders would rather have this than you know, the cold and rain.
So we'll come back for our beauty sprint around the industrial estate after this. Back in a moment. Welcome back. Isn't it lovely? All right, there's nicer places, but when we get to Izmir today, you'll be very happy. So much to see in this beautiful country, and in fact, when Brian and I are ever given the gift of coming here, it very much feels like that. These guys, no favours for them. They've had to work hard, but they're holding on. They're going to go through this Turkish beauty sprint. Yeah, I know. Maybe a misnomer today, and in fact we probably could have done with seeing a bit more of Ephesus tomorrow. I guess when it's on your doorstep, maybe you just don't appreciate it. That's very much the way we felt about the pictures yesterday. An absolutely stunning place, mist. There you go. Just going to welcome everyone back. Time for a sweet treat to those who've been under pressure. This is Jonas Koch. Now, I think of the breakaway, he's probably the biggest threat, along with Shane Archibald. Maybe they're having a chat. Are they sharing a can of cola? Well, there we are, kissing cousins and all that. Why not? I wouldn't have done that myself, but each their own. It's one of the big industrial complexes that we have here in Turkey. Massive textile industry here, and Brian's always heading off to buy his latest designer pair of jeans. Struggles to find them that can fit his powerful. There's Chris Hoy and there's Brian Smith, and between them they've got 4 thighs that frankly could probably grace the biggest banquet. And they struggle to find jeans that fit, but Brian manages it occasionally. Not quite sure on his brand. Stosh gets his change and does a job. But
genetically, we're not that good at football, apparently.
Yeah, well, yeah, Brian's alluding to the newly departed manager of the coach manager, as we say in the United Kingdom, of the Scottish national team, who basically said the reason why Scotland don't perform as well as they could on the football field is that genetically there's something missing. They're not as big as some of their opponents. To which the answer is, well, Brazil aren't all that massive, to be honest, but yet they're the best in the world. So maybe you should just get on with it. So Brian is he's got a bee in his bonnet at the moment about Scottish genetics, which have produced some amazing thighs, both for Sir Chris Hoy and of course Brian Smith. You never got your MBE, did you?
What, massive?
No,
like,
member of the British Empire.
No, Chris Hoy's physique is, I think, twice the size of mine. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But we're into Vestel area. In fact, Vestel, they were telling me that they make the Smeg kitchen appliances and that here.
Yeah, I believe so. So despite the fact that you might think that they come from I don't know, Scandinavia or an Italian sort of more, you'd put them higher up any blind list.
You told me to keep that quiet, by the way.
In terms of, no, I believe you. I believe it's right because I've got one of those fridges myself. So anyway, yeah, a lot of high-end products get made in this part of the world, and they're determined to show it to you. So it's our beauty sprint is going to be around here, and as you can see, there's some traffic calming devices here, which if you get it wrong, front wheels is one thing, but if you crash into it, it's your back wheel that comes straight up the seat post and you get a smack up the backside. And frankly, if you're not properly planted on your seat, you'll be singing alto by the evening, let's just put it that way. 55 seconds. They're going to stay away at least for this next sprint, right?
Yeah, very much looks like that. The rider from Turkey at the front, more interested in just keeping it at 1 minute. They know that 1 minute it's doable to bring all the riders back in the breakaway in this final climb. So there's an opportunity, I think, for, and it's an outside opportunity, but give him respect when it's due. That Amador, and he's already been rubbed up the wrong way today already by CCC, and there's potentially an opportunity for him in this race. As Pavel Brut shows his experience there, he just loses a bottle, but just taking bottles when you're going over bumps, maybe not the thing to do.
No. 42.6 kilometers from home then, and 56 seconds is the gap. Just coming through the fabric district here. Good bit of bunny hopping. Shane Archbold proving that he's got that skill well and truly intact. So our Turkish beauty sprint, all right, it's not so beautiful, but it is certainly for the locale, and it is a massive employer here, as you can see.
Sponsor.
Yeah, indeed, and sponsor. So yeah, in itself, that's a beautiful thing. We need this race paying for. So thank you very much to the district for this. However, pick your line, any line you want to. That's as wide a highway that I've ever seen, Brian.
Yeah, they have trouble parking in this part of the world, but yeah, it's, you know, it's an industrial area, and it's the same where we get, you know, I remember growing up in industrial areas when I was riding my bike. I used to go there and race round in kind of quieter roads. Okay, a lot of learner drivers used to go there as well and used to have to dodge them, but yeah, I grew up doing some of my training in these kind of industrial areas back in the UK, but it's there for a purpose, and yeah, I don't think they get too many kind of rush hour traffic here.
Yeah, it looks like the workers were held behind the barrier there, but yeah, very, very quiet at the moment. So our beauty sprint is just about to be upon us. Haven't seen any back markers for them, but we're just about to leave this zone and head for there we are, 500 meters to the Vestel beauty sprint. Vestel being one of the biggest industrial powerhouses within Turkey. To be fair, I think we're just coming by HQ right now. There you go.
They should turn into it, I think it is, left here.
Yeah, round the back. Is this so that the CEO can just look out the window? Oh, there we are, see the crowd, and indeed the gang as they come by, and here we are. Nobody from the Turkish team. Good pennant work. So the beauties of Turkey sprint prime, and yes, it's worth having a dig for, is it? Let's see who's most primed for this. And it looks like our friend from Androni might well be going for this. He's just embedded in Sperafico. Is he going to come and deny Alex Turin? No. There we are. Wasn't the most dramatic thing I've ever called home, Brian, but job done.
Yeah, I don't think it was up there from your 2012 performance, stage 7, but yeah, it was taken by the rider from Wheelia Tristina Turin, from the Androni rider Sprefico, and in third place was Archbold.
And here come the pack. The Turkish national team, having failed to get themselves any points in this competition, beat on dispatch, and the workers from Vestel. They're doing a bit of flag work as well on the helipad here. Super job. Good products, by the way. I'm not just doing a PR thing. I know it from personal experience. So there you go. Put together well. 51 seconds then is our gap, and it's Trek with the Turkish team that come through. That's the washing machine centre. We've been past the t-shirt centre. We're coming past the refrigeration centre. That's probably the coolest place to work in the company. 51 seconds then as we we head back on our highway, and you'll be pleased to know that we've only got 39.8 kilometres of today. It's not been the most dramatic since you've joined us. It was a very busy start today, so the excitement kind of happened before we got to air. However, rest assured, it's going to get slightly bonkers very, very soon, because we're climbing. Back in a moment. Welcome back. I'm afraid that it looks like we have said goodbye to Eugenio Alfacci from this race. He's taken himself a tumble on this curve, and just check this out. Bang. Down goes the UAE's Zerlo, slots underneath Alfacci, and I'm afraid Alfacci has put his bike up on the car. Meanwhile, out front, it's got busy. Told you it would be. And indeed, Archibald has decided that he's going to invest in the day. He's going to go as long as he possibly can and maybe get a famous one. We shall see. This is Alex Turin, who said ta-ra, so bye to him. We'll be saying hi to the remainder of our Eurosport family who are still to join in a few moments' time. So we're down to 3 now. While you've been away, all hell's broken loose, I'm afraid. Eugenio Alfacci is out of the race, having been collected by Federico Zerlo of UAE Team Emirates. He went down in a turn as we left the washing machine plant, and I'm afraid then our breakaway decided to re-engage. Shane Archibald pushed on. That's Alex Turin, who's just now out of the break. He is still busy out front. He's still got Jonas Koch as well. I think the pair of them probably the best of our breakaway, and so they are still busy up front. A trio remaining. The wind's blowing, but it's going to become more favourable. As you can see, it's to their backs right now. If you look at the big flag and the direction of the peloton. So it's thinned down good and proper, Brian. 45 seconds to go, and it looks like Archibald and Jonas Koch are still motivated out front, and a little bit of urgency about the day now.
Yeah, we just started climbing ever so slightly. This is a kind of long drag up, and a little bit harder than the drag we had yesterday before the final climb. So it will shake a lot of riders out, and it is on the main road as well. It just goes up in stages, and it gets a little bit steeper towards the top of this climb, and that's where I think the peloton will start to explode a little bit, because I think there's too much at stake here. There's a stage 1, and obviously Bora Hansgrohe won 3 stages. Ulisse yesterday and UAE have got their man in the jersey, but there's so many other teams in this race without anything to really shout about, and everybody comes into this race thinking of a stage win. And I think obviously Trek Segafredo are showing the cards today. It's all in. Unfortunately, they lost out Alfacci. Don't know exactly how bad he was hurt, because he seemed to land on Zerlo. Zerlo just slipped out, but wow, we just have a coming together.
Big.
And
Huge.
Unfortunately, a lot of riders down here. You don't often see as many riders like that.
Beppu there, Gustav from Astana, also very much involved, and that's a great deal. That's the impetus that we were getting, and when you see riders down and staying down, and Bora have got a man, I'm afraid, on the deck that does not look comfortable at all. Just getting themselves back up, checking on whatever damage is done. Thankfully, it looks, that's Michael Schwartzman, by the way, who's one of the lead-outs for Sam Bennett. I'm afraid that Archibald's up the road. We've just seen Schwartzman on the deck. Goodness me. Brian, we said it was about to get dramatic, but I didn't mean it to happen in this manner. Onur
Onur
Balkan, the
Balkan,
Turkish champion, also there.
You don't. We're going slightly uphill on a big wide road, and all of a sudden so many riders came down there. They weren't going at great pace. Okay, we say this a lot of the times, you don't have to be going at great pace to injure yourself. Leopold Koenig also there for Bora Hansgrohe. So when you come down at a slower pace, you come down with your full body weight, and that's why sometimes you will you can hurt yourself, scaphoids, these sort of kind of small breaks and things like that. But we're going to see it again. But they weren't going at a great pace.
Watch dead centre, that's where it happens, so it's not close to us. There we go, bang, and it's one of the CCC boys who went down first. Wow. My goodness, that was a big collection, I'm afraid, right where you don't want it at the foot of a climb, not that you want it anywhere. And this doesn't look nice, I'm afraid. He's taking his time, can't quite see who it is. Brian, do you recognise it?
No, the biggest problem you had there with that crash is everybody was really close together. They weren't going particularly fast, but it's because of the closeness. When one rider came down, bang, it was it took down quite a lot. There was almost probably about a dozen riders came off, and they're still getting looked after. But this rider from Wheeler Tristina, number
Flores.
83, is the rider that's in question here. Leopold Koenig has got his helmet off, so I think it'll be a day over for Koenig in this one. Michael Schwarzman being looked at by the doctor at the moment, so yeah, it's taken out quite a few riders.
Right, so that's going to add to the conundrum at the end of today. I'm just trying to see who it is from. I think it's Igor Boev from Gazprom. So, has there been a knockback? Slightly, but nothing too serious. It got down to about 40 seconds, the gap. It's back out to 44. But Koenig doesn't look like in any hurry to get back on the bike here. And it looks like the car is going to beckon for him. Well, he didn't look hyper motivated for this race in the opening day. He was doing a sort of team role. Frankly, you can only ride to your current form, and he's going to go on by the looks of things. He stretched himself out, but in absolutely no hurry. That's Schwarzman is the rider just being screened here by Koenig, and he's going to ride on, Brian, by the looks of things, or is it bike on car? Can't quite see. We'll wait and see. It's been a long season for many of these riders, and Koenig, one of the declared favourites before the race, but basically announced himself as not going to be that. On stage one, where he rode a breakdown and basically said, off you go.
Yeah, Leopold Koenig here for training. He's gone on to China as well. He's been dogged by a knee injury, and obviously that crash there when he comes down, it looks as if he's kind of just stretching his back a little bit, feels a little bit hurt. But, you know, Bora Hansgrohe have got a job to do. They've lost two riders there in the crash. They've lost another rider this morning with the sickness, Milberger. They've got a rider in the breakaway, so they're really depleted in numbers if they want. If Trek Segafredo really put the pressure on, and I think Caruel will start to do something as well. They're thinking of the King of the Mountains competition, that this race could break up, and Sam Bennett needs the numbers.
Just under 34 kilometres to go. Big crash, and Michael Schwarzman has ridden on. Leo Koenig likewise, but doesn't look hugely up to invest a whole lot of energy into this climb. And in fact, our breakaway, which is now thinned down to just 3 riders, is starting to extend its advantage. Here, Leo Koenig just looking at himself, thinking, you know what, I've come back from a knee injury. I'm supposed to be trying to find my fitness as far as this race is concerned. And right now, I'm just setting myself back potentially. He doesn't look massively motivated right now, I'm afraid. He's at a different part of his form profile, Brian, to many riders here, and this won't have helped.
Yeah, he wants to ride as many races while he can, because there's a lot of races he couldn't. He's doing a lot of training this year because of the injury to his knee. So coming down, bang, he's not overly happy about the situation. So it looked as if he wasn't wanting to continue, but I think the team have told him, you know, you need to continue on. because there's tomorrow as well for Sam Bennett. He's one of the favourites for tomorrow's stage, one of the favourites for today's stage. So the interesting factor here is how hard would they ride up these final few kilometres.
Right now, the gap to breakaway is holding. UAE have added a bit of impetus here, and this is for, of course, Diego Ulissi, who now leads this race. Sperafico, Koch and Archbold are your men up front. This is a powerful force, actually. It's a sort of trio that could form something of a surprise. Not least Jonas Koch, the youngster. He's had a terrific year, actually. He's had, in fact, he was the Trofeo Palmer. He got on top 10. He was 9th there. 11th in Norway. It was a good run in the fields as well. Finished 4th on stage 3, which is similar kind of profile to today. He goes well. He went well in the Tour of Britain as well, into Cardiff, I understand. So yeah, now thanks to Pro Cycling Stats, by the way, for those figures. Great bunch of guys, and produce an outstanding collection of statistics, which you can go and enjoy yourself on their website. Credit where it's due. PCS, Pro Cycling Stats, the good guys of cycling. 38 seconds, starting to be drawn back, and maybe that temptation of that mountaintop, but I think they're going to get there, Brian, because what we got, 4 kilometres, 4.4. Will the breakaway have their fun and crest it and take the main body of those points in that competition?
I very much doubt it now, because Gregory Daniel's now come to the front to keep the pressure on. You can remember him into Marmaris. He was the last rider left in the breakaway. Indeed, yeah. So riding strong, the American champion from last year, and Edward Towns rode well yesterday's stage. He only lost just over a minute and a half, so it looks as if he's riding strongly. And Trek Segafredo want to try and put Sam Bennett out the back. They know that he's now depleted in some team members. So Gregory Daniel is putting the pressure on, putting some riders out the back, but will it be enough to damage Sam Bennett? That's the question.
Well, it is a big question. I've just seen that despite what Gregory Daniel's doing at the moment, Marco Coladan, one of the lead-out train for Edward Towns, has also been spat out the back. So you can put the hurt on your rivals, but you can end up doing some damage to your own team as well. De Ruyter, who was in the break on the opening day, I think it was, also found out here. They've got a battle plan. They're going to stick to it. Astana also coming and joining the fun, if that's what you can call it. Darwin Atapuma at the back of this group. He's not. He's had a busy season. Looked a little bit fatigued. And there is Ulissi within that group, wearing the leader's jersey, and indeed, well, that was wound in very quickly. It shows the power of the chase if you manage to keep something in reserve, and what a great push it was by Gregory Daniel. A great job. Oh, we'll see what the impact is by the time these guys crest it. We're about 2.8 Ks, 3.8 I beg your pardon, from going over the top.
Yeah, the top of the climb comes with 28.9 kilometres to go, so a little bit to do, and the breakaway is now being brought back, so it's all together, as we say, all together. A lot of riders have been distanced. To be fair to Coladan, he has done a lot of riding in the front today before we hit this climb, but a lot of riders starting to be dropped now, and Gregory Daniel doing a very good job. We're just looking further down, we can see the King of the Mountains red jersey with the green helmet down towards the back of this group. We mentioned it a little bit earlier today that he really has to score at the top of this climb if he wants to take that King of the Mountains jersey home with him.
Let's see if he does. In fact, is it 1 category 4 tomorrow in Istanbul?
Yes.
So that's just what?
2 and 1 points.
2 and 1 points, yeah, the lowest category. So here we are, and this is Franciszek Zizera. Jonas Koch it was that did all the work up the road. Zizera and Koch. Sounds like a design house. They are both sprinters. Jonas Koch, better climber, but he's done his job now, I'm afraid. Or he's been done for, because the breakaway has been caught. They've declared all together, but it is hardly that. And this is a very select group, about 25 riders at the moment, pushing on out front with 31 to go. Well, Ulissi's keeping up rather nicely. If it's a limited sprint, he might well get a victory today. Igor Boyev, one of the faster men out there. He and Pavel Brut doing lead-out duties, supposedly for Trusov, but he didn't start on stage 2. Porsev, I beg your pardon. Trusov is still lively today. Some aren't. And Poluki, another quick man that would have been backup for Sam Bennett. They're thinning down, Brian.
Very much so. A lot of riders being dropped, but there's an opportunity if they can, they can lose maybe 30, 40 seconds on this climb. As long as they've got numbers behind, they can try and come back. The Flying Mullet there, Archibald, in the breakaway at the start of this climb by about 40 odd seconds and now being dropped. But is he looking for Sam Bennett? I believe he may be.
Well, if that's the case, that's going to be a tired Sam Bennett by the end, no matter what the retrieval. Rafael Rice of Caja Rural. Edward Prades may have a chance for them. See if he's in with within this group. Big push then, and UAE Trek sharing the duties, and just look at who they're frying. Some decent riders too. This is check-in out. There is 30.7 to go. We're not there yet, Brian. This is a drag.
Now there's still just under 2 kilometres to go to the top, and it's down to the team of UAE with Trek getting involved. And you can just see, I think it's Pantano is having a look round to see if Edward Towns is still in this group, and I believe he may well be.
Well, if he is, that's going to be remarkable. We'll see whether he manages to do a job like Mark Cavendish did over this climb a few years ago in 2015.
Towns is just there on the right. Pantano's just next to him, talking to him. So Towns rode well yesterday in the final climb and is still in this front group.
Yeah, about 25 riders, but getting fewer by the moment. This is Jonas Koch, who's in the break, and just getting back up to Shane Archibald, who's also there. Well, this bodes well for Towns to get the victory that's eluded him so far in this race. He said, I don't know what I have to do to beat Sam Bennett. Well, today he's got a chance. If he can stay with this group, he could deliver a stage win, which would go a long way to pacifying his anxiety on this race.
With the situation here, we've got about 25, maybe 30 riders maximum. Some riders a little bit further back. It depends. There's no real groups going out. It seems to be individuals, 2 or 3 riders, and I don't think Sam Bennett has got the numbers to maybe help him back. And talking about numbers, there's Pantano and Gregory Daniel at the front for Towns, and at the top of the climb there's just over 28 kilometres to go to the finish. It's a long way, and you can get some regroupment, but everybody will know that Towns is in that group. There's a group just there at the bottom of the screen. If they can get together, they've still got a possibility of coming back. But it's going to be a hard chase for them. It's been done before by Matt Cavendish, and he went on to win this stage. But it really depends on the numbers in front. If UAE want to keep on riding on, then there's an opportunity.
Well, opportunities do knock occasionally. You saw race director Berat Alpam just looked like he was about to make an announcement with the loud hailer here, as we just start to come to the peak now. On the descent, we do have a little sub-climb before we start heading back down proper towards our destination today of Izmir. So they'll go over the top with 28 to go. About 15, 16 kilometres later, it kicks again. And here is your King of the Mountains jersey wearer, Celano. It doesn't look happy, Brian.
No, he has to score at the top, because I believe that Maestri will take the points away from him tomorrow. He's a kind of faster of the finishers between them. He showed that yesterday, so it does look as if Celano will possibly keep a hold of that jersey, but he may lose it tomorrow. But this looks like Koshevoy on the attack here from Wheeler Tristina.
It is indeed the Belarusian. He's just digging in right now, just having a scan through this group to try and pick out Mirko Maestri for you for Bardiani. In fact, there he is, and so he's got a chance today of grabbing that King of the Mountains jersey. Digging deep is Bakirki. They thought that Ahmed Orkan would have a chance today for the Turkish national team. Haven't spotted him up front. He may well be there. As we scan our eyes, in fact, there he is, right inside of your screen, just in front of our friends from Gazprom Godoy. Daniel Martinez also in there from Wheeler Triestina. Firsonoff, I beg your pardon, from Gazprom. was the man that we saw. He was busy earlier on. Oh, BMC, didn't think they were here, but it seems that they've... nice salute. Don't hamper the rider, my friend. That's what they're beeping at the moment. Bit of bouncing encouragement, but he's lucky that security haven't got involved, because there's a lot of it here. 12 seconds only for this man. He's giving it a good old shake of the stick, but I don't think it's going to happen for Kosciuszko today. So who's going to be tempted? And finally we start to see some moves. Not yet from Mirko Maestri, but he'll be looking at tomorrow. In fact, there he is in what, P7? You see the tangerine sleevelets, and here he comes. Is he going to find something here? Has he got anything left? Just 1 point would do it for him, Brian. They're level pegging at the moment in that King of the Mountains competition.
Yeah, he lost the jersey yesterday and he really wants it back. He was favourite for tomorrow, with it only being a 4th category climb, but he's climbing well today. Kosciuszko will take maximum points, but Maestri just starts to come, and he wants to take the 2nd place and the 3 points that go with it.
Yeah, I think he might well just get there. I hope he does for him. That's sterling work for that jersey. 28.8 kilometres then from home, and the gap 7 seconds, and he's done it by the looks of things. Check this out. He's got another Wilier Triestina rider just going by him right now. Points that he's managed to assemble have been diminished, but he's got enough to take a jersey. Gosh, he had to work for that.
Well, he did. He's got it. He's come to pretty much a halt now. But Kosciuszko is attacked. It looks as if that was Martinez. It was moving forward there. It's very difficult to catch him out. But the rider coming back like a stone is Maestri. But he's got the leader's jersey in the King of the Mountains competition back.
I think it'll belong to him as well tomorrow. So we've got a couple of Wilier Triestina guys. They worked so very hard yesterday. Manuel Belletti, by the way, I don't know whether he's managed to get over the top here. It looks like Martinez is chasing on to this man, Ilya Kosciuszko. Yeah, Belletti, it's his birthday. I guess a stage win for the team would actually do it in terms of celebrations for tonight. 28 to go, and the gift of this descent, Brian, it's fast from now on in, save for a little kick in about 10k's time.
Indeed, it's a very fast, the main road. It's a very fast descent. There is a little bit of a kicker, but interesting tactics from Wilier Triestina. Kosciuszko going on the attack, and drags with them Martinez. Martinez goes straight through, but I think UAE definitely have numbers. I also think that Edward Toynes has made it, and you see Maestri just at the back. He's trying to stay with it, and another small group of about 5 or 6 riders trying to come across. This could be it, because looking a little bit further down, there's kind of 1s and 2s, but still, if you go over the top of this climb, you still could possibly come back to the front if you have numbers. But it does look as if UAE are interested in bringing back. But just on the left hand side, guess who's there? Sam Bennett
in the green jersey. That is a remarkable performance. Well, you doubted him, Brian, that he could get over the top. He's stuck with Toons. He's actually done a phenomenal job right now. Sam Bennett is here. So is Prades from Caja Rural. We believe Edward Toons is there. I'm still waiting for an absolute dead cert on that. Brian's giving me the thumbs up. But Sam Bennett has made it over, and that was one heck of a push. I had faith in him, Brian. He is here, and now surely has to be favourite to deliver, but he hasn't got the lead-out train that he's been leaning on around him. He's managed to take this climb where a lot of his fast teammates, such as Schwarzman, have found themselves, I'm afraid, a little bit second-hand. We'll see what Shane Archibald's got left. I think he's off the back and hasn't made it, but Bennett has.
Yes, Bennett definitely has. So, you know, the form that he's taken into the latter part of the season is absolutely phenomenal. I, for one, I didn't really think he would stay with the front group. I have to be honest there. And
well, we've been arguing about it since the top of the show.
Yeah, he's impressed. He's definitely impressed, but he's got absolutely no teammates with him. The thing is, on his own now, everybody will know that he's there. If we come on to the flat now and the run in, nobody's going to take Sam Bennett to the finish. We've said this, nobody's going to take it. So we are going to see some attacks in the run-in, because with Sam being here, Edward Toynes has looked back and thought, what do I have to do to win a stage here? When he sees the green jersey in this front group, it must be a little bit demoralising for him. But Sam Bennett is on his own in this front group of about 30 riders.
UAE with Ulissi. Don't discount Ulissi himself. Zerlo took a tumble earlier on. I think he managed to get back in, but may well have been dropped on the last climb. 2 up the road, including Martinez here, with 24.5 to go, but it's a narrow margin. Well, they've just been taking on water a few moments ago. Sam Bennett holding up his water bottle there, saying, can I have some sustenance, please? And Shimano neutral comes up. There's team cars, any kind of assistance he's not going to get from other riders. Team cars not within the gap, because there are some closing riders, as you can see, just getting back in. I believe Shane Archibald might be within that group, and if he is, then Sam Bennett has got a little bit of assistance at the finish. He could use it, Brian.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the riders that are coming back. Rynan is there, Gregory Daniel, another one, but can't see any Bora Hansgrohe riders with the group for the moment. There might be one on his way up, but we'll have to wait and see on that.
This is going to be a busy finish, and for the first time Sam Bennett is going to be without a lead-out train. They usually assemble brilliantly around him. He's not wearing the leader's jersey. Today he's wearing the points jersey, a competition he of course owns. It's the first time today, in fact, that all the jerseys are on the backs of their owners. You can see his turquoise or aquamarine helmet with the green jersey embedded underneath, and he has got a teammate with him here. So I'm just wondering whether Archibald managed to get back in, but nonetheless he's not alone. Sam Bennett has help.
Yeah, that's good job for Silvio Herculots there, and he's able to make it over in one of the groups that have come back to the front of the race, and it'll give Sam Bennett a bit of morale, but Herculots will have a big job to do. This is swelled, this front group, to maybe 35 to 40 riders now. UAE are just riding, doing a controlling thing. They don't want the attacks to happen, and they'll ride pretty much all the way into Izmir. But for a lot of riders in this front group, they'll be looking back, they'll see the green jersey, and they'll say, there's no way I'm coming to the sprint finish with Sam Bennett there. So I think obviously for UAE, they want to control it. They don't want any danger riders going down the road, and all the riders of Jesper Hansen, Masnada, Martinez, Godoy, Arslanov, Gavadze, they're all in this front group, so they're just controlling things because they've already been attacked by Wheeler Tristina. So it's a controlling riding at the front by the team with the red helmets. That's UAE. But as we come in towards the last few kilometres, I think there's a lot of attacks that are going to come, because there's no way that Herculots will be able to control things for Sam Bennett on his own.
No, but he's got a gift here, Sam Bennett, and that is that Trek Segafredo are going to be hyper motivated for Edward Toons. And where Edward was following the wheel of Sam Bennett in 2 of the sprints, because he thought, well, I'll just try and mug him at the very last, I think Sam Bennett will probably do exactly the same. The German Silvio Herculots looked exhausted by the time he get back in. He's got 19 Ks to get it back together. Well, less than that, of course, if he's going to offer up any kind of support to Sam Bennett. I think it's probably just moral support for the time being. However, this is your run down and into town. Let's describe the finish for you, shall we? Because we're getting towards that crucial point. We sail around the bay. It's kind of a highway approach, really, until we start to get by some of the parkland areas made famous by Ilio Kaiser. Just cut through past the top of the park. Slightly different approach than the 2012 approach, but we've been here before. There is a switchback, Brian. At the very last, they have to take a full hairpin to come back to the finish line. So we'll pass the finish line on the left-hand side, as it were. You'll see it, and then we do the hairpin, and then it's an out-and-out dash to the line.
Yeah, you've passed the finishing line. We're just over 3 kilometres to go. So when you pass the finishing line on your left-hand side, you hit the 3 kilometres to go, and then the 2 kilometres to go, and then about 1.5, you do this dog leg back to the finishing line. So it's a finish that's been used many times in Izmir in the past. and I think it was the finish that you used after Elio Kaiser won that stage in 2012. So for the subsequent years afterwards, they used this same finish. Okay, a different run-in, and a couple of years ago they used this climb. Mark Cavendish got dropped. He come back to the front of the race and delivered the stage win. Today we've got a group about almost 40 riders in the front of the race. I can't see anybody else coming back. The riders that are there, we know that Sam Bennett is there with Edward Toynes. We know that the Turkish flags are flying because Ahmed Orkin is still in the front group. Erlusi is here, and I've not noticed if Balletti's there yet, but Jordi Simon is definitely there. Prades, not picked out Val Benesi is there. I don't think Ben Fato is there, but definitely Gavazzi. So it'll be an interesting one to see how this plays out. Trek Segafredo have got numbers in front, but with Sam Bennett there, and he looks in good form, 3 stage wins, and he's climbed well in this stage today. A bit of a surprise, and Trek Segafredo, I think when they come into town, would probably be better thinking of a late attack from the likes of maybe Cal Reinen or Gregory Daniel in my book.
We'll see. Enrico Barbin has just managed to get back in for Bardiani. It took him a while, but he's got back in on the descent, so they've got a couple of choices. I don't think Vincenzo Albanese is there, but Simeon is, and Enrico Barbin. 15.3 kilometres to go then. So can Ahmed Orkin bring some joy to Turkey? Don't think so, but it wouldn't be unheard of. I think it might well have to take something very dramatic if Edward Teuns is going to be denied today. That drama will come, I think, from Sam Bennett. No Shane Archibald there, but he's got Silver Hook Lots as a backup. Michael Schwartzman also hobbled by a crash today, along with Leo Koenig. So they really were bruised, Bora Hansgrohe, but they've won 3. That's got to bring some confidence to Sam Bennett. He wears today the green jersey, but with his aquamarine helmet. Right now it's UAE for Ulissi. You can see him there on the right hand side of your picture. He's just in, well, as the picture widens out you can't, but he's just with just in front of Astana. Looks like he's part of their team, but in fact he's the leader of this race and rides for UAE. There he is with the red helmet with the pale blue. Just being screened at the moment is Sam Bennett, who's riding well. He's riding confidently and kind of showing himself, if you like. Cycling is always, of course, a physical exercise, but you have to get yourself mentally in the right place, and right now Bennett rides with Teuns. Bennett staring down Edward Teuns as if to say, you want a piece of me? You're going to have to work for it. Kyle Reinen, the American, is working hard at the moment just to keep the pace where it needs to be. There's the green jersey just in ahead of that line of Androni riders. Couldn't quite see where, I think Bellerini is there. Ben Fato, if he's made it over, that's going to be good. I imagine that Gavazzi is going to be their primary choice after going well in the last 2 stages. All terrain, 13.7 to go. This is that almost familiar highway that we've got, Brian. They'll dip down underneath here, so go for an underpass, and then of course we have our magnificent approach to this largely industrial city.
Indeed, we're heading pretty much straight to where the water's edge is, and we're on this main road. It's pretty much main roads the whole way towards the finishing line. Nothing too technical. UAE controlling things, just trying to pick out as many riders here. But regarding tactics, I think Sam Bennett, he's proven in the past that he doesn't always need a lead out. It's whether riders are going to attack from this group. UAE are just controlling things at a good enough tempo, so it's making it very difficult if there is indeed going to be some attacks. But just looking here, and you know, as we expected, plan B for Trek Segafredo. They don't want to just rely on Edward Teuns and Gregory Daniel having a go. No,
they don't. Kyle Reinen, great foil for almost a battering ram for Trek Segafredo. There's been Gregory Daniel as well has been amazing. They've really lent on their Americans during this race. They're keeping the pace high. I'm just looking to see if Shane Archibald has actually made it back. I've seen a whiff of a mullet possibly somebody else. I think I'm mistaken. I kind of want it really. Yeah. I kind of want this. Al-Fachi, by the way, is out of this race. He was one of the other of the longer hair. Oh no, that's facial hair. Beg your pardon. So yeah, we'll see. 12.1 kilometers to go then, and just a flare out as there he is. Our man in the green jersey. Can he deliver? He's capable of doing so, and well, he's got company.
He definitely has. He can't hide at all in that green jersey, although, you know, he likes having a green jersey on his back. But he's won 3 stages. Just noticed that when Gregory Daniel went on the attack, Cal Ranyan was like, what's happening? What are you doing? What's the tactics? And I still think there is an opportunity here for Trek Segafredo to win. They've got numbers in this front group, and I can't believe for 1 second they would want to ride this down to a sprint finish with Sam Bennett. Towns has already been beaten convincingly 3 times already, so I still think that Sam Bennett is riding really well. We know that he's climbed in the past, and you know, he's a super talented rider, has a very fast finish, but he's ridden really well today, because that was a hard tempo up there, and to stay with the likes of UAE and Elise and most of the general classification riders, when so many riders have been distanced, it shows that when you've got confidence, you're on good form, then there's not many people that can beat you.
Just look at the pace that's been called for here by Ulissi. Let's see if he manages to deliver it as we come over this crest. They'll get their first. Somebody's going to win the 50p for seeing the sea first, I think. 10.9 kilometers then, and this is a big assembly. What we've got, about 45 riders here as they've come together on the descent. This is a little kick. We've got 10 Ks remaining of the day. Nothing too serious as we head down towards Waterside. UAE as leaders, just expected to keep the pace and dictate it today, and that's precisely what they've done. Some tired looking faces. Darwin Atapuma looks very grisly there in 3rd place, just riding the line. You can see the leader, not that dissimilar in terms of design to Astana, but he's got a red helmet upon his head. And as you look further down the line here, Bardiani also just looking a little bit lively. They've got numbers, and here we are. Not bad either. Enrico Barbin looks well placed. What about the performance of Gavazzi over the last few days? He's been amazing for that team.
Yeah, he's ridden well. You can just see the team of Androni a little bit further back there with the Reds. I think there's about 3 of them, the red kit on with the white helmets, but they're sitting back. But the thing is, UAE are setting a tempo here. Pretty much the whole team are riding, so it's a good show of strength. They are thinking potentially they've got some fast riders, but they'll know that Sam Bennett is there, and to bring him to the finish. But what they'll want to do is control things as much as possible. But I cannot believe that these kind of 40 riders will fight out the finish. I'm sure there's going to be some attacks come, because when you see the green jersey of Sam Bennett here, 3 stage wins already in this race. There's no way, if you want to try and win the stage today, and there's a lot of teams without a stage win, there's got to be attacks in the running.
Just squeezing of a bottle there, just getting rid of some weight. Just enough for a toot late on, but don't want to be carrying the excess if all you're going to want is a sip. Waterside, long line of talent here. Who's your pick today?
I've just, before I answer that, there's a group of about 20 odd seconds down, so it'll be interesting to see who's in that group, and if there's any of the riders from Bora Hansgrohe. We mentioned it a couple of years ago, Mark Cavendish came back and won the stage, so if there's riders from Bora Hansgrohe in this group, they'll come straight to the front, help UAE control things. And your question, who will win today? Sam Bennett.
Lots of looking back at the moment. Koshevoy is just waiting to guide somebody up. I'm just wondering if it's Belletti, the birthday boy. He's going to hang back and then try and get Belletti up to the front group, I believe. Anyway, that would be a nice story for him. Quite a delivery. It would as well for if Shane Archbold, and I think he is within that group, gets up here, then Sam Bennett's going to have more hands to the pump. Trek Segafredo are going to be getting ever more nervous at the moment. They've lost out on 3 occasions with Edvard Teuns. We've seen him just stocking up, as it were. It's a shame that that camera can't just pull out a little bit more, and we'll see those who are just trying to deliver themselves up to this group. I think Belletti's actually been on the blower and said to his teammate Koshivoy just to get back involved, and he can get back in on his own. Still can't see it, but they're just off the right hand side of your picture, and as we just hold for now, there they are. That's what we wanted to see. Oh, you know what? Zizur and Koch are in this group as well for CC Sprandi Polgovici. Some of those guys who didn't leave it all behind on the mountain. And, well, there is Zaramontins within that group. And indeed, the King of the Mountains jersey has actually got up here as well, albeit that he doesn't own it anymore. This is great to see. Feisty work. Yeah,
Albanese in that group, so it's about 20 odd riders coming across. So we'll have about 60 riders coming in for the final 8 kilometres. Zaramontins is there, and Herculots, and I think at this moment in time Sam Bennett is happy just sitting there in the front group. He's got he'll have a couple of teammates, and if need be, if the attack starts, I'm pretty sure Zaramontins and Herculots will be able to ride the last 5 kilometres, just do a 2-up and deliver Sam Bennett. So looking good for Sam at the moment.
Edward Perez has just got himself in for Caja Rural as well. He's strong in a moment like this. Brian, it's only 6 stages, but it has a wearing effect, a race such as this, coming so late in the season. We've only got 1 stage tomorrow in Istanbul. You never want to let one go by if you're capable of winning it. And from this group, there are plenty, but the favourite has to be Bennett.
It has to be, and we're maybe looking at the favourite for second place. Could be Edward Towns as well. So they have been the top 2 sprinters in the first 3 stages. Gazprom have now decided to come to the front to help out. I'm not too sure if they came to the front to try and stop that group coming back, but they have come back, and we've got a group about almost 60 riders now. But the green jersey is there, and he's decided to sit around his major rival, and that's Edward Towns.
He is. He's making a nuisance of himself. Bonifacio and Gavazzi, Benfato and Gavazzi are also there. So Androni have actually got some fighting force here as well. They've also got Andrea Vendram. 6.9 kilometres to go. So let's describe this, shall we? We just come by the park here. We'll take a gentle right in about 800 metres time. This will bring us down to about 5 to go. We take a left, which will bring us down towards the 4 kilometre mark in the central park of Izmir, and then we more or less hug the coastal road here. We'll go through past the finish line. We'll pass the finish line. The finish line will be on the left-hand side of the riders, so they have a look at it. That'll be about 3.2 k's to go, so they'll be on the right-hand side of the dual carriageway, as it were. They'll be able to see what they've got to deal with, albeit in reverse. They'll head down, take a gentle turn, about 2.2 to go, a right-hander that is, then a full-on hairpin where they'll double back upon themselves. That's at about 1.6 to go. At 950 metres, there's a gentle left-hander. There are a few little moves in the road, but nothing too serious. It's basically straight out, and it'll be an honest sprint by the looks of things. And many players. Sprandi have got Zizur and Koch. Androni have got Benefato, Gavazzi and Van Dam. We have, of course, Sam Bennett, who's now got some help around him. Edward Towns has got the best lead-out train, but he's had it on 3 other occasions, and they failed to deliver him for Trek Zagafredo in the black and red. At the front at the moment are the white, black and red of UAE Team Emirates, and they happen to hold the blue jersey, which is on the back of Diego Ulizzi. This is going to be a quick finish. Ulizzi, I think, will get a good finish. He just wants to make sure that there are no gaps and he doesn't finish out of it. So expect him to finish in a top 10 today, even if it is a sprint. And the sprint, we think, is going to come down to, as you were, Sam Bennett and indeed against Edward Towns, with a few others trying to dance around them. We'll see if they manage it. 5.3 to go, Brian.
Yeah, UAE at the front controlling things, and they won't slow up. It's they want to guarantee the Tour of Turkey win, and that's why they're riding so hard in the front. And this will continue all the way. And unfortunately, they don't have the fastest sprinter. This is really throwing it into the hands of Sam Bennett now, and Sam will be brought a bit closer towards the front of this front group now by Zaramontins and Herculots, his 2 teammates, and everybody could be fighting for second place now. But I still think that And I know it's very difficult as we start heading down towards the quayside now, but it's going to be very difficult for some late attacks, but I still think they will come. But as long as UAE are riding this tempo in the front, it's going to nullify any attacks.
4.5 kilometres to go, and just making a little bit of a show of themselves for the time being are indeed Bora Hansgrohe. Nice to see them guiding Sam Bennett, of course. Little shimmy. In fact, I'm wondering if the tick is correct. We'll hopefully get a positive on that in a moment. And here we are. Time then to invest. And indeed, Trek Segafredo, you know, Jenson Pantano has done an awful lot of work. He's out front at the moment and trying to set a tempo. This is not for him. This is to attempt a response. 3.8 kilometres out, he's going very, very long, and dare anybody regard him as a big threat at the moment, such as this. UAE staying with him, just keeping tabs on him. 4 from CCC Sprandi here as they take the right-hander. This should reveal ourselves. In fact, we've just been by the park, hence all the palm trees there. That's Pantano done as far as injecting a little bit of pace. Wise to it were indeed Bora, and here they come, heads down and just chasing back into this, and just trying to. Oh, they're split either side of the road, and they're dead centre of it. Looking in a handsome position with good vision, but they're going long, and this is Bardiani that decide to go for this. It's not Barbin, but he may well be tempted. He's just back at the front here. 3Ks to go. Yeah,
Mirko Maestri goes on the attack. He's already going to be on the podium for the King of the Mountains, and Pantano was on the attack there, and I don't think they're going to gift this to Sam Bennett. So I think UAE have done a very good job of trying to keep this together, try and keep their leader safe. Gazprom, for some reason, have come to the front in the blue, but looking very good for Sam Bennett to win his 4th stage.
Albanese for Bardiani as well is on that back line that is looking at his man up the road just for the time being. Maestri's gone, but everyone else is just holding something back. Hard to do. You can see Ulissi as well in the leader's blue jersey, pale blue jersey. Sam Bennett has got 2 teammates with him, just one for the time being, and Sam Bennett just has a quick look. 2.3 kilometres to go. Now there's the big hairpin that they're going to be taking. Start-finish line, or the finish line I should say, they've just passed by as we take this gentle turn right now, this gentle right-hander. That's the one that will be reflected as the last turn really, albeit a gentle one after the 1 kilometre mark. There's the Flamme Rouge as it will be in a few moments time on the other side of the highway. They're waiting to do the switch, and Androni are getting involved here. Benefato thinks that he can win today. He and Vendrama are also both here. Zizur and Koch also with an interest. They're mobbing at the front. There's plenty of options to take, and still they light it up. And the Turkish national team want a piece of today, and this is a skyrocket going to go very, very early. Won't be surprised if it's Ahmed Orkin himself. 1.7 kilometres to go, and he's showboating for now. Is he going to come over? Here's your big turn. I guess he's hoping that something might go untoward behind him. Ulissi in 3rd place just for the time being, tagging on to the Turkish rider just for now. Sam Bennett gets through cleanly, so does everybody else, and now it is 1.4 kilometres to go. You can see the pace has changed significantly behind, and they're dragging back in right now. Just bedded in is Ulissi, and a little bit further behind, the green jersey. Here he is, just drifts out right now. Orkin just about to be reabsorbed with 1.2 kilometres from home, and it's going to be presumably Sam Bennett who is released, I reckon, reasonably quickly here. He's holding back just for the time being. There he is, looking very, very twitchy. Doesn't want to get boxed in. Flamme Rouge has been dealt with. Little bit of a kink in the road. It goes to the left-hand side. You work it out where is the best to be here. These guys do it almost on instinct, and Bardiani has gone for this, trying to tee up Barbin and doing a good job of it. But there's a response coming right now, just being guided in. Sam Bennett is in a decent place. Ulissi's also there. Oh, a little bit of elbow work just down there on the hoardings, and a little train opening up here for Trek Segafredo. Edvard Theuns is going to go for this first, and I think that Sam Bennett is just out of position ever so slightly at the moment. Let's see, not there just yet. No, they're wrestling with it and all reminding each other of their presence. Everturns picks it up. Oh, and Trusov, I think, has also gone for it for Gazprom here. It's not clear, not a clear run. Boxed in on the hoardings here is Sam Bennett in the green jersey. He's following Everturns at the moment. Is he going to mug him? He suddenly picks him up, and here he comes. He's coming to the fore. As always, it's the same two contenders, it seems. But the knockout blow once more is from Sam Bennett. What a finish.
Sam had to do a lot of battling there to get in that position. He was out of position. He had to take his hands off the bars and push a couple of people out the way, go through gaps that weren't really there to get himself onto the lead out for Edward Toynes there. And I tell you what, 4 stage wins in the Tour of Turkey. What a magnificent performance by Sam Bennett. He really had to work at that, and he'd done it himself, as I said, pushing and shoving through the gaps that weren't really there to put him in that position. But take nothing away from that second place there by Ahmed Orkin there. Congratulations for Sam Bennett. So a good final for Ahmed Orkin as well in second place. Looked like it was Toons in third place, but that hurt Sam Bennett there. He had to come up very late, but when you've won 3 stages already, he's just added to that with a 4th.
Excellent work. Ahmed Orkin from the Turkish national team went very, very long, and in fact managed to hold it there. The train of Trek Segafredo worked. It was a bit brutal for Bora Hansgrohe, but you know, Sam Bennett will take some great confidence from that. Mainly because he had to do most of that on his own. It was really busy. He was boxed in, they were taking him to the barriers. He used his elbows where he needed to be. All fair, of course. I couldn't see anyone really overly hampered by the lines that he was taking. And what a script it is. He danced home. Super job. Well, when they asked him the question, he had the answer. And that's 4 stage wins for Sam Bennett. And don't be surprised if he makes it 5 out of 6 in this race. If only he could climb. Good work.
Very good work. He really had to work hard for that one. He was out of position. We're just seeing it here. I'll try and pick him out there. He's on the right hand side in the barrier, sitting about 8th position at the moment. Out of position. Just coming up the barrier side now, right, pushing and shoving past the wheel of Tristina, right. Watch this, the gap closes in front of him. Bardiani pushes the Bardiani guy, pushes the Astana rider, pushing and shoving all his way. He knows he has to get up there. He comes round the right hand side now and just slots on to Edward Toons' wheel. Ahmed Orkin is just behind him. He's waiting for the lead out to come, as it's into a bit of a headwind, so he can afford to wait. 300 metres to go. He's on the right wheel of Edward Toons. Just watch Orkin. He moves onto the wheel also of Sam Bennett. Knows that's the wheel to follow. He follows it. Eventually finishes in second place, but Toons goes on the right hand side. But this time Bennett has already passed him and won. But a good ride there by Ahmed Orkin. But I tell you what, Sam Bennett had to push and shove his way to that win today.
Certainly did. Well, he burst through. He's become something of a sporting personality here, filling these sports pages in Turkey. And this is the reason why. He's a feisty competitor. He made that win for himself in very, very difficult circumstances. And there he is. Arms up. And indeed, straight back down again. That took an awful lot. Everturns bashes the bar. Orkin bashes the bar. A lot of bent bars out there. I think we might now go and visit one. Great work. Sam Bennett gets there. Ahmed Orkin finishing so quickly there. He's got to believe in himself for tomorrow, but I think he survived the climb better than Sam Bennett did. But it shows you what the power of the jersey can do on occasion, Brian. Well,
you've got confidence in, and you know, he can climb, and these sort of climbs he just hung in there. And if they'd gone obviously a little bit harder, it would have thinned out a little bit more. But there was only the Wheelers Tristina guys that were attacking over the top. But taking nothing away from Sam Bennett there, he really had to work hard for that sprint finish there, and deserved the win.
Sam Bennett beats Ahmed Orkin at the line. Same time was Consoni actually given third place. as Everton sat up and started beating his bike up. Paluta in 5th place, Minali Van Poppel, Ballerina Gavazzi, another good finish for him in 9th place. He'll be well placed in the points classification. Sam Bennett, though, dominating that, and indeed with just one stage to come, who'd bet against Sam Bennett winning in Istanbul, making it 5 out of 6?
Yeah, exactly. He is the fastest, even without teammates. He can still deliver the sprint finish, and you know, obviously he really wanted that one. You know, obviously gaps were closing. He had to use his hands at one point to push one rider out the way.
Here he is, and offering up congratulations is our overall leader, Diego Ulizzi. He'll take green out of this, especially with the dominant performance in terms of stage wins. Yes, more than. Well, we've enjoyed it today. Hope that you will join us again tomorrow as we head to Istanbul. Short day, 144 kilometres. And Brian, we're on early.
Yeah, it's very much so. It happens every Tour of Turkey. We've got an early start tomorrow, and also an early finish.
Yep. As your overall, Ulissi leads Hansen by a handsome margin of 12 seconds. Masnada and Martinez and Godoy, the top 5 separated by 30 seconds, in fact the top 6. But it's going to be a sprint tomorrow before, I presume, we'll crown Ulissi.